double chin.
No, you look beautiful. How old were you when you learned you were dyslexic?
I was 7. I was homeschooled until I was 7. Then once I was in public school, they quickly found out that I had dyslexia.
How quickly was it? Do you know?
I think I spent 1 month in one class, and then I got switched over to the, dyslexic class.
Okay.
And then that they, noticed just because I couldn't read, at all.
Okay.
And then everyone else in the class, they were picking up on it, but...
Okay. Do you feel the interventions your school gave you were helpful?
In YBS, yeah. My elementary school did a really good job of teaching me the foundations of how to learn how to read. But I didn't learn how to read until I was 9. But not because of YBS. Actually, they helped me the most.
Okay.
But middle school stunted me a lot because one middle school that I went to when I was in 7th grade, instead of trying to help me, they gave me the accommodation of a laptop that would read to me, which I get it, I am taking a while in class, but I should also be learning. The more I read, the more I'm going to learn. And that's what you did over the summers. You would read with me, and that's the only reason, I wasn't so dependent on the netbook. And then, North Hartford, I, fought at North Hartford to get rid of the netbook because, in 7th grade at Bel Air, they gave me it. But then in high school, switching over half of my IEP to my 504 was really helpful because then it was it wasn't a crutch, but it was taking my IEP away was taking that crutch away, but having that 504 was still I do have dyslexia. There's no way for me to not have dyslexia. I still need some things changed so I'm able to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the 504 was way better than just not having anything, because I could have just not had anything.
Yeah. How did you feel when you were taken out of classes?
I didn't learn cursive because I got taken out of classes, actually.
Okay.
I got taken out of cursive class, and then I'm an artist, so I had to teach myself cursive because of calligraphy.
Mm-hmm.
So that was annoying. Also, it brought attention to the fact that I was not doing well in school. So it showed the other kids that I was the IEP kid. And then it overwhelmed me more than it helped me sometimes because I would miss stuff in regular school to learn how to read. And then sorry. It was helpful, but
It's okay.
it was I'm sorry. I just can't think of the way to
say it.
say it because it was I wanted to be. It was good that I was pulled out of class, but then it was also not good that I was pulled out of class. I feel like you could find a better system, but for how they just found out about dyslexia and just found out how to deal with it even a little bit, I mean, they're doing pretty good.
Yeah. How did you feel when you were included in class?
I really hated independent reading. So once I got to high school, those grade levels of being in the IEP class and stuff were taken away.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about how smart I was.
Yeah.
And how well I could comprehend things. And my comprehension's high, but my reading level is low. So I was able to be in those higher classes, but then I wasn't able to read at the same pace as them. So my teacher would be give me 30 minutes to do a reading that would take me 60.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone else would be done and I wouldn't be done the reading, and then my teacher would be like, why aren't you participating? But it's like, I can't participate because I haven't done the reading. I wouldn't not get my work done. I would go home and I would read it. But like, if I didn't have that dedication, I would have failed. And there were kids that were failing because they didn't have that dedication, because nobody else was like helping them. And so many of my IEP teachers would just give me answers. Like, junior year of high school, I barely went to history class, and when I did go to history class, my IEP teacher in that history class would be like, you're failing, here's all the answers to the worksheets that you haven't been doing. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, I had high test scores. She would be like, well, if you're getting 100% on your tests, and the only thing making you fail is your worksheets, she would just give me all my answers for my worksheets, because I couldn't read. I couldn't read as fast as everyone else, so I couldn't do those worksheets. But I still knew the material.
Yeah. Who are your favorite special educators and why?
Miss Chandler, she was a special educator for me my first year. She was my IEP teacher, my first ever IEP teacher. And then for my second grade year, she was still my IEP teacher, but then once I got into third grade, she became a second grade teacher. So then I had a whole nother IEP teacher, but she would still talk to me and would still like be basically my IEP teacher. And she helped me realize that like I could learn how to read, that it wasn't like a death sentence. Mm-hmm. So I really admire her, and then I love Miss Eggy. She was my IEP teacher all throughout high school, and she's such an inspirational woman. There's like so much about her that I love, but also she was kind of mean to me, but not in the way that I was like, fuck this lady. But I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's okay. But that I was like, she's amazing.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I know you're smart enough to do this, and you're just being lazy. And, like, you're making yourself fail. And she was right. And, like, I mean, I failed my Spanish second year of high school. But then she was like, you can do better than this. And then my junior year of high school, I had, like, basically, like, either a 3.8 or, like, something like that.
Yeah, you had all A's, I remember. Who are your favorite general educators and why?
Mr. Blevins, he's my art teacher in high school. His wife taught at the dyslexic school. So, like, he found out I had dyslexia and then talked to her about how he could teach me. And then he completely accommodated all of his teaching styles for me throughout all years of high school. I had him as a teacher every year of high school. And not only did he teach me about art, he like taught me about books and so many different things and like life. But then also I love Miss Chandler. She was my junior year English teacher. Her and Miss Eggy both worked together in that year. And I had to write a 10-page essay. I felt like I could not do that. But I did it, and then she was like, this is really good. You should be on the newspaper. So she had me do, like, an application, and I got in. And even though I got into fourth year journalism, even though I had no other classes in journalism, the principal made an exception for me.
That is so awesome, Gracie.
So.
What does being dyslexic mean to you?
Probably art. Just like, it doesn't make me stupid. It just, I'm so much smarter in different ways. And, I think my brain's just shaped differently. But that's what dyslexia is. But I don't think it's a disability. I think it's a gift. I think that it's I think the people that are given it for a reason. And I think it makes me a stronger, smarter person, because not only did I have to work hard to learn like every other kid, but I had to work twice as hard to even come remotely like close to learning. You know what I mean?
What was the hardest part of your academic career in relation to your dyslexia?
I would get bullied a lot for my dyslexia, so it made me not want to go to school. And just like not being spelling. That honestly, spelling was like terrible. I learned how to read way before I was able to like consistently spell things correctly. I have things from like I have tweets from my like freshman year in high school that make no sense because like I cannot spell. but then once I graduated, I was able to get a handle on that. Most of my ability to learn how to like spell was from learning Spanish, actually, from like phonetics. So
that's really awesome. How do you feel as an adult living with dyslexia? What are your advantages or disadvantages?
Advantages, I think my art is super awesome, and I'm trying to think of advantages. Damn, now I'm sad.
Like at work.
I can remember like Shakespeare. I can just remember Shakespeare, which is really cool. I remember anything that I hear, so I can remember directions so easily. I don't ever use a GPS for anything. At work, I remember the computer system so easily. Like, people that have been there longer than me don't understand it as well as I do.
Mm-hmm.
But the disadvantages is at work, like, counting, and like I'm constantly scared that like I'm gonna fuck up the registers and like be short or over. I mean, over is not as bad as short, but like I'm so scared that I'm gonna get fired because of that. That's the only thing that my dyslexia like interferes. Also, like there's a lot of adding for like dumb paperwork, which is not even necessary because the computer does it. But like that's a whole other issue.
Yeah. What are your plans for the future, and how much does being dyslexic factor into them?
Well, I want to move to California and then eventually go back to school. And I have a couple different plans because of my dyslexia. So, like, I've thought about going to school for English, but then that would be challenging because of my dyslexia. But then I'm like, I know I can do it because I've done it before. But then other times I'm like, well, then I can just go to school for like art because that I want to do art. So I think I'm at the point of my life that I'm still like deciding what I want to do for the rest of my life. And dyslexia is such a huge factor in if I pursue higher education and what higher education I will pursue, because I'm smart, I know I'm smart, but our education system isn't set up for me to succeed.
Awesome. Thank you so much for talking to me today, baby. I love you.
I love you too.